Find out about Jack, his time in Vietnam, and his coveted brother that we have been wondering about forever, Nick. So stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
I feel like we need to take a deep breath for this episode.
I really just had to have a waiting to exhale moment. Like, what's going on?
I was holding my breath the entire time, especially with this song. Ooh. This is Darkness, Darkness by the Youngbloods, and it was the opening song when they were going through Vietnam and going through the helicopters and going through the forest, everything. So really sets the stage.
It definitely sets the tone for the episode.
Did you guys ever watch MASH?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
It just looked too old for me. Sorry.
But it did have this, it did have that element to it. But you know, we're here. We're excited.
Oh, gosh. I'm excited as I can be because this is an episode that I've been waiting for and wanting for forever. So I finally got it. It did not disappoint. My name is Candice Cruz. Thank you for joining us. And who are my lovely ladies to the left?
Hello, guys. I'm back. It's Thelma and Mbaezue-Daniel. I'm so happy to be here with the lovely panel. And to the left of me.
Yay. Hey, guys. I'm Parris Rose. You guys know me? Parris with 2 R's.
Yes, claim the fame right there. I'm Parris with 2 R's.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yes. So what were your guys' overall thoughts of this episode? Because it was a very Jack-centric episode. There wasn't anybody else other than his full storyline.
For me, I think it was necessary. And I love the beauty of This Is Us, the way they tell stories, the way they bring us back to ourselves with every episode, with every scene. Just from we seeing Jack as a young boy talking about having that heart problem to tying it into why he didn't have the going to the draft and then going into the draft for his brother. It just brought everything full circle for me. So I was very happy to see it.
Yeah.
I thought it was, like you were saying, very necessary. I almost forgot that I was watching This Is Us, though. I almost thought I was watching some war type movie. I got completely out of the This Is Us story and so invested in Jack and Nick. I wanted a little bit more about Nick already, but I know they're going to ease it in. So there's a point to everything they do. It's always cleverly chosen. So I'm waiting patiently.
I feel like invested is the perfect word because they really did invest their time. And it's so amazing the way that these writers have put like Easter eggs throughout the entire season that we finally got a lot of questions that we didn't know we had answered, of like little nuances that Jack had and different sayings that he had and his relationships with these men and how he had to become a leader. And he's always been thrust into that role regardless throughout his life. And it was even interesting, and I know we'll talk about this later, but the day that his brother was born and to see the difference between his father then and then 7 years later when Nick was about 7 years old, to see the difference. And I'm excited to see where that happened.
Yeah, and I love that the transition into showing us that, right? It was the children almost feeling worried. Why are you taking this, addressing their mother? Why are you allowing this to happen? And she had to flash back that it wasn't always this way, right? So Jack is having that moment of when his father was excited and happy and loving and didn't drink. So it was really interesting to see how life kind of happened. It's really unfortunate.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it really just, I loved the way that it started. With him in the helicopter and going to see his brother. And I didn't realize the timeline at how crunched it was until you get halfway through the episode. You're like, oh my gosh, he's only been here for, 90 days, I think is what he had been there for. So that's, just a little over 3 months?
Yeah.
To be in that, I mean, that's a long time to be in a jungle, just saying.
Yeah.
But it also says a lot about who he is as an individual, his ability to thrive and excel in 3 months. Somebody who wasn't even drafted.
Are you talking about Nick or Jack?
I'm talking about Jack coming in to come see his brother afterwards. You know, he hadn't been there too long and trying to maneuver and see what he can to really just be with his brother. And I thought it was really powerful to say, knowing that I don't have the power to make him better, but I just want to be in his presence so he knows you're not alone.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's just an insane scenario in general. So I would like to say to all those people that have served, thank you very, very much. I think they did an amazing job showcasing the reality of what war is. And I know that there's nothing that can ever truly show what that is for people that have served. But this is a time when, you know, it was a completely different time for war. You're in a jungle. It's uncharted. You have no idea territory-wise. You're literally just like looking every corner, every shoulder. Like paranoia sets in, and having to go and disarm like little bombs. What are those bombs again?
Oh gosh, no,
you know what I'm talking about,
yeah.
right? The landmine,
yeah.
and trying to find those and defuse those. Like that's insane. And to even see them playing football, and the one thing that gives them comfort to end up being the death of someone, an entire ambush, was just heartbreaking.
I actually really like the moments of joy that they showed us. Them just like jumping in the water. Because yes, they're doing some probably terrible things at Vietnam. Yeah. And this is not just a show, this is our history. And I'm just thinking they had to probably really cherish some moments. I mean, the connections that the ones that have survived made are our lifetime. It's like such a lifetime strong bond. And I was thinking probably these moments where they can have fun, kind of forget where they are, is so important. I really like that they showed that.
And I think it was also probably, just for a very important moments for people to interact across nationalities, across ethnicities, and really find a camaraderie, and really find a brotherhood. And we saw that happen in this episode, and we kind of saw what ignited who Jack is and the ways that he treats people, and the way that he sees things. So it was really wonderful.
And I think going off of that too, it makes you appreciate life that much more, because they did lose a comrade, and when he yelled out WIA and KIA, I was like, oh. That's
Do you know what that means?
Yes. So wounded in action is WIA, KIA is killed in action. Oh. So when he called that out, you automatically knew that his man was down. But when he had that moment, Don Robinson was the character that we obviously saw in the previous episode
the older man.
With the older man with the prosthetic. So we now know who he is, but we got to see their interaction and their friendship, but also that moment of when he got hurt. And to see Jack step up and to just like, and even Dawn to comfort him in the time of it. He's like, my mom, what was the line? I gotta say, you tell your
Dawn,
name, I got
the thing
quote.
about Dawn that I love so much about that character when he came in, Dawn was so refreshing. This is a man who is wounded in action, right? And he's saying, so optimistic. You think they're going to be able to sew my foot back on?
Give me my foot.
Give me my foot. And then he said something so powerful when he actually was just like, at the end of the day, we're so afraid all the time,
We're so scared we're going to die. We forget to do the one thing that keeps us alive.
That's exactly. We're so scared that we're going to die. We're afraid to do the one thing that keeps us alive. And I feel like that rang true in so many regards, of course, in that moment, but even the things that we're discussing right now, we're all so goal oriented that we sometimes forget to stop and just realize, okay, let's breathe, let's take this moment in, and let's move forward from there. And he did that.
Yeah, in that moment, I loved the flash between the two where he did the hands. Yeah. That was my moment where I was just like, I need a tissue, because he held the face and just said, breathe. And we obviously know that that's a thing that Randall needs and has lived with his entire life. Isn't it fascinating just to get your all's ladies' thoughts on one moment in your life can be so pivotal throughout your life, throughout your family's life, of someone else that just shares that moment. Like that one thing that he did by grabbing his face and saying, breathe.
Yeah.
Shaped his life, shaped his son's life, now shaped his daughter's lives.
Right.
Like, isn't that crazy?
It is. And probably in that moment, Don, I mean, yes, he thought he was passing on a gem because it is from his own mother.
Right.
But I don't think he realized the impact he had on, and sometimes you don't realize the impact you have on someone. You think like, oh, I just met them in passing. And that moment, that like meeting in passing could be life-changing for someone else. So I just really like that moment too.
Chills.
Yeah. It's definitely chilling. And I think that, we just see so many intricacies when it comes to Jack, and just being able to pause. But I think we see him being Superman for so many people. I think it was refreshing to see somebody be there for Jack and kind of comfort him for a change, and see that he actually carried this, and this is a part of him all the way through for generations now and for generations to come. So it was really good to see that his friend Don could get that to him.
I mean, kudos to the writers and like this show in general, and I love the moments that it has. And I I personally love TV, and I love all the moments that it gives me.
Oh, do we love TV?
We love TV.
We love TV.
I mean, I love all the moments and breaking them down for you guys. And AfterBuzz is the perfect place to hear about all of them.
AfterBuzz. Hi, AfterBuzzers. You know our network produces nearly all your favorite television shows from network television. You know the dramas, the sci-fis, reality TV, comedies, and more. There's no network that works harder for television fans like you and for us. But we need your help. We're asking that you subscribe to one or more or all of our YouTube channels. By subscribing, YouTube will go ahead and suggest tailor-made content just for you, and everybody loves that. If you're worried about pesky notifications, do not worry about them because they are optional. Please subscribe now. Hit that subscribe button. Did you do it? Thank you. Thank you for doing so. Go ahead and let us know that you did in the comments, and we will shout you out on air. For now, thanks for being the best fans ever and helping us be the ESPN of TV talk.
And the This Is Us fans are legit.
Yes, they are.
Oh, and
Y'all
our
are strong.
iTunes fans and our Spotify fans, you know.
We're on Spotify now.
Yes. We're moving on up. Go ahead and give us 5 stars, guys, because 4 is not enough.
I love that. I need a shirt that says that. Give me 5 stars because 4 is not enough.
Literally walking to every professor like that.
You're like, hello, give me the 5 stars, please, and thank you. Oh, gosh. Well, I mean, I could probably go on and on about that and the relationship between Dawn and Jack because I think it's going to be a huge one. That's a prediction that I will throw in at the end, but I really do feel like that is going to be a very pivotal moment.
Yeah.
And even him saying, you know, you've been here 90 days, you still have 90 more of that reality shock for him.
Right.
And like, you got to make it through.
Exactly.
These 90 days, I get to go home.
Right.
I may have one less limb, but I'm going home out of this place.
Yeah.
Versus, you know, you still got a while, sir. So hold on tight.
And side note, though.
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited for Kevin to meet with Don or talk with him because I'm like, great, he's the perfect person to describe who Jack was in Vietnam. So I'm really excited for this interaction.
I think that Jack is in Vietnam is the Jack that he turned into when he went home.
I was, you know, I'm glad that you guys talk about Don because yes, I agree he's going to be very instrumental, and I'm so happy that it's Kevin and it's not anyone else because Kevin so desperately needs to feel that closeness that he has never necessarily realized that he needed to have with his father or didn't appreciate it till he realized how much he didn't have it with his father.
Yeah.
So I think he's the necessary person to interact with Don, get that information because he's missing so many pieces right now that I feel like once he does that, it will unlock him into being a better man. And then he can go into my prediction that I left here, which is like, you know, going into a relationship because I'm here for all of that. You know, but we'll see you next week, Kevin. It's all about Jack right now. Yeah, so that's just, and Jack is just amazing in everything that he does. So,
oh my gosh.
yeah, and I love that even though, and you see the way he interacts even with the young Vietnam boy, right? Vietnamese boy, I mean. Yeah, that was also very important.
Yeah. Also, side note before we go into Jack and like his relationship with his brother and like when he decided he was going to leave, I loved the moment that he brings over that chest of beer and cigars. And that place was spick and span. I mean, wonder what a beer can do. It's a wonder what it can do for men.
That's so funny, yeah.
Just give them a couple beers and they're like, I got this place clean.
Or but again, it's just Jack is so tactful. He knows how to inspire people. He knows how to lead them in a way that they don't feel bullied or put down. You know, and his men were not the nicest in the bunch. He knows that, but he also knows how to motivate them in a way that, you know, it translates. So it was just moments and layers of who is Jack, and we get to uncover the guy that we all see as a superhero. Yeah, you know.
Well, I mean, his brother referred to him as that a lot.
Yeah.
In this episode of him being Superman, and even from the beginning. So I want to jump back into the timeline right before Jack enlisted, and we see the shot of Mama Pearson getting the letter from Nick. And the bruise on the eye. So now Dad has obviously gone into beating her rather than just yelling at her. Yeah. And I think a lot of that frustration probably comes from Nick going into the draft and being gone. Not that validates it, but I'm sure that that's where it like stemmed from. But we finally get to find out a little bit about Jack and his heart issue. Yeah. Because he goes to the doctor and decides that it's time for him to go after this letter that he needs to go and be with his brother, regardless of if he's nearby him. Mm-hmm. But when he goes to talk to the doctor, it was tachycardia.
Yeah. Oof. So that's what it sounds. I mean,
I think that's correct.
yeah.
If my spelling's correct, but it's apparently an irregular heartbeat, which we obviously, when they said that, I was like, oh.
Could that have been the cause of why
He passed
died.
away. Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's just the continuation.
holes filled.
Exactly. No, when they ran downstairs, when he came down to defend his mom for the first time, and she goes, "What's going on?" Oh, my mom, my heart always beats fast. Little Jack said that. So it's just that continuum, that synchronicity, and us just kind of seeing the full story.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know. I feel like for his father to turn around and, you know, basically penalize him for trying to take care of Nick when you have always taught him that is his job was really interesting as well, because I feel like
When he made the comment,
when he made the comment, God forbid he'd be able to take care of himself
or clean up his own messes. Yeah.
so it was definitely a little sad moment, but I just feel like when it comes to Jack and his father, I really wish, or I hope that they maybe had one conversation with, who were you before you are my father? Because I feel like his father ended up being somebody that Jack could have been if he went the wrong route.
I mean, he somewhat turned into like
Because he was a good guy. I mean, in the sense of like, you see this guy prior to drinking, he was a good guy. We don't know what happened. We don't know what trauma or what PTSD he might be dealing with. And then coming on to here, I'm saying like, if Jack wasn't who he is and didn't go the route he did with wanting the things that he wants from Rebecca and finding that life, and he became a drinker and allowed that to consume him, he could have gone a very different route. And we see that with his grandfather and his father.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely can touch on that a little bit later when we actually get down to grandfather and talk about that. So we are going to talk about Nick and when he was born and all of that, because I think that there are some I want to save that for last because I think there's a lot of predictions coming into that one because of that one element. But I think you hit the nail on the head, and it goes into like even the year flashback. I love that they did the certain increments of time.
Yeah.
And going into the year flashback, and we see the interaction between Nick and Jack for the first time as adults. We've seen them once before as children, but never actually seen them interact as adults.
Yeah.
And you can already see that Nick's very like secluded,
unsure of himself.
Emotional.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it.
Really?
I don't want to call it, I would use the term
insecure.
emo, but not emotional.
Does
that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like he's like an insecure, just like a weaker presence.
Yeah, I think he's just very, uncomfortable. He seems
Yeah.
very uncomfortable. Maybe that's the best way of putting
Yeah.
it. I think he's uncomfortable.
Yeah, maybe he's still finding his own, but I don't know. I think that for me, he came off not sound in the ways that everybody might describe it, but sound in mind. Because if you listen to the letter that he sent his mother, just in understanding of the context of war, you know, he might have been there serving and loving, but he knows the realities. So to me, people might have seen somebody who looks like a lost kid, or who looks like a rebel, or who doesn't really have too much direction, or, you know, but to me, I felt like he was somebody who might understand society or be more sensitive to things that people are going through than people realize. That's what I read from him.
What do you see
Paris?
pre-war? Because war changes people, and so that was already him getting in trouble after being 3 months in war, which you're already a new man. But like pre-war, the young Nick,
That definitely makes sense. He didn't have as much emotional intelligence as pre-war, kind of what we saw, just kind of depending
maybe
on
is
him.
the better way of putting
Angsty.
it. Angsty is the best way of putting it, because I feel like he's always been protected, and I think it pisses him off more than anything.
Yeah.
I think from the underlying tone when he said, "You're my own personal Superman, and I'm your Lois Lane, always needing to be saved," like he wasn't saying it as in like, "I know you got me," like you're my Superman. He's like pissed off that this is his like. I think that even leads up to when we'll talk about like when they're trying to get him away is like the letter, and even in the letter that he wrote at war, I feel like that's he was already underlying that pre-war, but it just wasn't realized until he was put in those circumstances.
Right.
Like he's never had to kind of take care of himself, and I think maybe he wants to prove himself but doesn't know how.
Yeah.
I think you're definitely right, and you know you guys definitely kind of gave me a little bit to think about, because that's a good point. Because pro-war, you know, he changed a little bit, but yes, he definitely wanted to prove himself, because when his father said "make me proud," and then he was on his way to go to Canada, that might have been what switched his mind. Like I want to be somebody that my father can respect. I want to, I want to stand up for myself. I want to do something that maybe they think the honorable Jack would do. Because if you're somebody who doesn't want to go to war and you are doing everything in your power for your number not to be called, and your brother sets up this grand plan, why wouldn't you go with it? If not to, I don't know, appease your father or, hold on to any honor that you feel like you might be losing.
Isn't that interesting how much our parents can weigh on us, or people in general, where people's opinions of what we are, who we are, really weigh on us. And I think Jack just wanted to take care of his brother so much and wasn't doing it as in let me coddle you. It's just, that's my job.
Yeah.
That's who I am. That you're my best friend. You're my person. So I don't know. I mean, that draft lottery.
Gosh, I cannot imagine that. It's just random, just your birthday. Oh my God. I would hate my birthday. After that, I would hate my birthday.
I mean, it's fascinating because I've never actually watched anything about the draft. I knew about the draft, but to watch that, and I'm assuming that was actual footage from the draft.
The calling out,
everything. It looks like. I mean, if we're incorrect, I apologize. Yeah. But to see that in reality, I'm sorry to make this reference, but it does feel very Hunger Games-esque.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure where you're gonna go,
because,
but yes, it does.
To be honest, you're literally being called into whether or not you're going to survive.
Yeah,
we don't know, but it's your duty as a man. You must go back then. You couldn't go. If you didn't go, it was treason.
Yeah. I mean, you had to have a medical reason to not go, or if they found out you were homosexual, something like that, you could not go as well. But I just think it's so scary. I was really putting myself in that bar with the guys who were also listening, also anxious. I think I would throw up if I heard my birthday.
But just for the writers to take it to the next level of, he was 2 minutes off of being on the same sharing a birthday with his grandfather.
He could have been October 19th.
And avoiding the draft entirely. It's where are all these branches leading? I'm just waiting for it. It was just a lot for me. It's
so not a lucky day at all.
And everything, the entire episode starts off with, you're lucky.
Yeah.
Why did we believe that? Because the nurse who gave birth to you, or who helped give birth to you, called it lucky because that was her lucky number. That was her wedding day.
Lucky number.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's just impeccable the way they do this.
That's my dad's birthday, so happy birthday. That's in 2 days.
Yeah.
October 18th.
Oh, wow. But it's just, I don't know. But it definitely was very scary. But I think, I don't know, just, it was also really timely. I think sometimes history gets away from us. And, we romanticize it sometimes, and we forget how brutal it truly was and how easy it is to go back there. So I would hope that in the midst of how wonderful this episode was, everybody took a moment like we did to be able to thank everybody for their service, but also figure out how you can do your part to maybe we're not going there again.
I hope to God we don't. Yeah. That's just I mean, I think that was a really harsh reality for all of us. And I really liked where after the draft, and he said, make your father proud, or make me proud.
He said, make me proud.
Yeah.
And kind of going off of that. And then I think I'm just a huge eye watcher when it comes to acting, and I loved seeing the reality just flash in his eyes of what's actually happening. And I think we even saw the moment where Jack was drinking and that his brother was drinking. I think drinking in general has been a thread throughout this family, and I think that it's going to we obviously see it continue. But I loved that Nick took that moment to say, what if you looked at your life in reverse and you figure out how you got there?
What if you... What? When he said that, we both looked at each other that's a thought.
I know, I saw you write that down.
I literally wrote that down. That's a mantra. That is
brilliant.
Yeah.
To think that all of these moments that we think are so pivotal, and then the moments that actually are, and to look in reverse, and to look at where you are now, and then look at what you've done, and what all moments have led you up to this moment, and what you're appreciative of, and everything else. It's just,
that's what if we looked at our lives in reverse, right? wow, that would be. I just feel like he definitely hit it on the nail with that one, and that's the theme of the episode, really. Yeah, that's literally the theme of the episode.
Looking at life in reverse, that is.
Oh, we are? Yeah, we're going backwards. Oh my God. They actually did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The entire episode, they started at the back.
They
started at the end and then began again. And it's so beautiful because they made it seem like they weren't, right? Because it seemed like he's coming into terms with seeing his brother for the first time, but it's actually the past. Right? So it was, this show is just like, all right, that's it.
Yeah.
You guys win. You win.
I can't. But to see them try and run away to Canada, I was like, that's what I would do.
Yeah. I'd be like, okay, bye.
I literally would be like, Kingsley, all right.
I'm just going to be living in Canada. I wonder how many people live in Canada now because of the draft.
I know.
Because
it was a while before they could come back.
This is just so touchy. Like,
I don't even think you could come back.
I think you would be probably imprisoned if you came back.
You would
you broke the law. Yeah.
You're treason.
Although I would totally take prison over going to the war.
I mean, yes. Yes, mate. I was thinking the same thing. I was watching. I was like,
and isn't it really interesting that Jack's dad said to him when he was looking at his brother and just explaining to him that, this is your job to take care of your brother. He goes, every single baby here is born on the same day as your brother.
I know. So I thought, so they all went to war.
They all went to, it was just like, exactly. It was like, I was like, you guys just keep
I can't handle this episode anymore, guys.
Yeah, it really was.
These are tissues, by the way. You can't see them. They're
transition.
Well, I loved that we got to see the 14 years earlier, and then we'll go on to the baby. But the moment when he hit him with the football, I was like, oh, God, that's another symbolic moment where he hits him in the face with a football. And then the guy died earlier in the episode with the football. Oh. I know! Are y'all not catching these little Easter eggs in there? And then hitting him.
I missed
and
that.
then doing the glasses.
Yeah.
And but I loved the pep talk that he told him. And that little actor.
Yes.
Great.
Oh my, he's in chorus, boys in chorus. So he had that cute little chorus.
Little Jack was so indicative of grown-up Jack though. Like
that's what I'm
the knowledge
saying.
that he was dropping on him, saying, he's like, but no one. Glasses aren't cool. And he's like, no, but Clark Kent wears them. He's like, yeah, but Clark Kent's not Superman. He's like, but you're Superman in disguise, which is even better.
Which made Nick feel like he could be Superman to defend his mom. I'm just like, ooh, Jack, you spoke too soon.
Glasses off.
He's like, I'm Superman now.
Going down.
I was like, maybe you shouldn't have told him that. Oh, I got nervous for little Nick.
Then he showed up.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I don't know, man. It's just really, this episode was really hard for me because Jack's dad, for me anyway, has always just been, okay, yeah, he's a bad guy. That's the situation. I did not expect at all to see any other version of him than what we have seen before. So amidst everything that was going on with Jack, I just cannot stop wondering, how did his father get here?
I think we'll probably find out.
I really hope we do.
We've been waiting for a long time to even see any of this interaction between Nick and Jack. I can only imagine how much longer we're going to have, and to see the transition between 7 years earlier, which is something that you've been so excited about, the baby moment where they're going and showing all those pivotal moments between father and son, and the baby being born is what happened.
Yeah.
Because Grandpa already was drinking.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's clearly, I don't know. It's so hard.
Yeah.
To watch that. I mean, what did you think about that whole last element that we saw of the episode?
I want to save that because that's kind of part of my segment moment.
Oh, okay. So we'll close out with the date that he was born. I wrote this down. 10/18/48 at 11:58.
Oh, so he just
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
I didn't even catch the time.
2 minutes. And she said, and he said, Jack's dad says to his father, the baby, he could share a birthday with you. His father barely responds, right? And as Jack's mom is giving birth to Jack's brother, Nick, she's, he might share a birthday. My husband really wants him to share a birthday with his dad. The nurse asks, does he like his father? No response. So what is this? What is this idea? You and your father have a tumultuous relationship, and then it transitions into this. But Jack broke the cycle, so it's really wonderful to see how that kind of interacts.
He almost broke the cycle. If we're talking about dad and son relationships, though,
It's Kevin.
Well, it's not even that. It's like the moment that the babies were born, Jack's dad showed up at the hospital and got turned away. Or was
Well, he wasn't turned away. He said their mom.
There was a moment that Jack's dad showed up and Rebecca met him. That wasn't when they were giving birth.
That was when he was sick. The father was sick, and she came to the hospital instead of Jack.
And Jack didn't care. But I was like,
when he was in the home, when he was still in the home. Yeah.
Because I was like, there's a moment when that whole thing happened all over again, which I love that there's such a symbolic, and if we really look at our lives to see how many symbolic moments are like the same exact thing that other people have had too.
Yeah.
It's like synchronicity and like deja vu and all of that. But I kind of want to get into our tissue moment because I feel like there's so much more to talk about, and I want to hear everybody's
Well, go for it.
opinion of tissue moments. Oh, wait, we're getting our special music in a second for our tissues. So our segment, as you guys know, if you've been watching every week, is our tissue moments. So we break it down for you. Every single person has their own tissue moment. So it is 1 to 5 ratio. 1 being like, it was okay. It wasn't
like
a
our
tearjerker. It was like,
yeah.
It was a heartwarming single tear moment that was like glistening. And then there's a 5 where you're laying on the ground sobbing. And it's just in This Is Us form where you need 5 tissues or more in my case.
Right.
Yes.
I've been waiting to get a 5, but
You haven't gotten there yet?
I haven't.
Did you have a 5 moment?
No, this episode was, I'll wait. I'll wait till it's my turn.
I haven't even gotten past 1, and tonight I think I'm back to just 1.
No.
So should I start? Should I wait for the music? Should I start? I'm gonna start. And yes.
Perfect time.
This music might make me have 2. No.
Just use the 1 tissue.
1. Oops, sorry. There's so much smoke that comes out. Not smoke. Tissue dust. 1. And it's never an actual like I'm crying or sadness moment, but I just thought it was a beautiful moment. When Jack's dad is in the hospital and like describing to Jack like, this is your little brother. You have to protect him. I always get like my emotional moments are things I can really relate to, and I'm the youngest of 3. And my brother always felt like he had to be my protector. And so I'm just like, I don't know if my mom gave him this speech or whatever, but I just felt like, oh my God, this is what, my brother takes it so seriously, protecting me. And I just feel like Jack was like, you know what, I'm going to take this so seriously. I'm 4 years old, however old he is, but I'm going to take this seriously. So that was just I can relate / love my brother. Yeah.
That was really sweet.
Oh,
Really sweet. Makes me think of my siblings. These are my best friends. I love y'all. Okay. I think for me, 1 would be.
you only had 1 tissue, 1 moment?
No.
What ranking was it?
Ranking. Okay. So.
Gotta pull out all your tissues, girl.
Okay, guys.
Was it 1, 2, 3?
I will give it a.
Oh, she's going up there.
3?
We're getting a 3 tissue moment?
I don't believe it. I didn't see
a tear shed.
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you why.
All right.
So it's a 3 because tears are, they represent what? Things that mean a lot to us, right? For me, I didn't actually like tear up and cry, but it's something that I'm going to hold on to for a very long time. And I think seeing Jack and his friend have that interaction, 2 things that I got from that was 1, his ability to stay positive and ask for his foot and keep that lightheadedness the entire time. But the second thing that really got to me was that quote when he said to Jack, a lot of times we're so afraid, we're so scared, and we forget to do the thing that actually keeps us alive, breathing. So that was a mantra for me that didn't necessarily make me cry, but it really hit home, and I feel like it was really important to hear. Yeah.
Well said. Well said. Push him over. All right. I feel like this entire episode I was like crying. Y'all didn't see the tears at the beginning?
No, we definitely did.
I wasn't.
You did?
I did.
I was full on like, I can't handle it. Y'all know. You said last year I cried on air 3 times. I mean, go figure. I give this one a 1, 2.
Oh.
3. Oh, yeah, you like
with a smile. So sad. It's not a smile at all. It kind of goes back to what you were saying, but also just in general, of that moment of war, and to really see how unfortunate and how telling it was that it created Jack the man he was.
Yeah.
We love Jack, but it's just really hard to experience to see what made him that way. Yeah. Because can you imagine the type of man he would be without that?
Yeah.
And it's so sad to me, and to get like, you know, hypothetical on everything, or like just, I don't know how to explain it, but just to see how many different men and women have been affected by certain circumstances to that extent, and to that severity, and to see it change them and to continue to live their life. Yeah. Like, that boggles my mind. And even to see that he made it through war without having a heart issue anyway is huge. But just to see him like be calm and to stay with his friend and to take care of business even though he's breaking inside and to handle it, I just was like sobbing. Yeah. So it was... Whew.
Oh, that was, yeah. And you just gave me 2 moments about Jack that I even forgot. Just 2 things, you know, when his brother actually said to him with the Lois Lane comment about you having a plan, he didn't really have a plan at first, but then he just said, I have a plan, just to make his brother feel better. Mm-hmm. And just the kind of person that was not drafted, has a medical condition, but you know your brother is having a hard time, so you bypass that and you go anyway. Just to be
and
there.
Not knowing if you're going to live or die.
Or he's going to see his brother.
Not knowing if you're going to see your brother. Not knowing if you're going to live or die. Not knowing if you can even do anything for your brother. But you just like, listen, I'm here. Okay, so it's gonna
and his brother didn't even know he was there.
I know. It's just like,
so you just went and did it for like what reason?
But he gets all the tissues because it's just like, this is the kind of person, venture to impress yourself. Like every time I want to like, just tissue for everyone. Jack literally is a mantra. I love him.
Yeah. Oh, he is a mantra.
I am so glad that we had this episode because I think it was so timely, like you said. Not only for what's going on in the world now, but also timely in the sense of the show. I think if they would have waited any longer, a lot of the moments would have passed. Yeah. I also think if they would have done it any earlier, we wouldn't have had the gems that we needed to understand to the full extent of what we're understanding now. So I think it was like perfect timing. So I kind of want to go into predictions because there's so much to worry about next episode. Back to reality. Yeah. Real time.
Back, kind of. Prediction.
All right, Parris.
Ooh, me started.
Take it away, my dear.
God, I've got to take it away.
Take it away.
Oh, take it away. Oh, man. Where do I go? Well, I mean, just obvious prediction, obviously.
And don't say you're excited for something because then it's not a prediction. She said, she roasted me last week. She's like, that's not a prediction. That's an excitement.
I get into the prediction.
What?
It's a prediction, okay?
Do your prediction that you're not excited about, okay?
I wouldn't want to see no laughter, no excitement.
Okay.
None.
Face.
God, I don't even know if I have a prediction. I'm on Lena's part right now. Lena's always like, I have no prediction. I have an obvious one. I think Kevin's obviously going to meet up with or talk with Dawn. Which is going to, I'm not sure what it's going to do for Kevin. Kevin's already on this upward spiral. He's just had this successful movie. He's feeling himself. He has a girlfriend. So I don't know how this can complete Kevin in a way, but I feel like it will. So I don't know what it's going to change about Kevin, but I think it's going to change Kevin, and we'll see a new Kevin from this further. That's kind of like an obvious one. Other than that,
and you're excited to see where Kevin goes from here.
And I'm excited
just
to
saying.
See. Where else am I? What did we? And just from if you didn't get to see what's coming up next week, we're gonna go into Toby. And yes, so I feel like finally, Kate will see really what Toby's dealing with, because he's dealing with a lot, anxiety, depression, and she doesn't know a whole part of Toby. I mean, yes, he takes medication that doesn't show who Toby is. But this is a part of him, this depression, this anxiety. So I'm glad she's going to finally meet Toby.
After years of marriage. And that is, the whole time I'm thinking, did he send a representative? Like, what was going on? Seriously, but that is how much we've been so engulfed in who Kate is and all her problems. and there are a lot, and I understand I'm being sensitive to that. But Kevin is always lost. Not Kevin. Toby is always lost in, you know, the shuffle, and it's really, really interesting or exciting to see where that goes. That's not even my prediction. Okay, my prediction is going to be. Did you guys remember the moment where Jack is interacting with the Vietnamese lady and her son?
Yes.
Did you see the way she looked at him?
Yes, I did.
All right, thank you. That's my prediction right there. I feel like there's something.
What is the prediction?
So the prediction is, I don't necessarily think there's a relationship, but there's something that gets violent. Either he's built this relationship. I feel like either he's built this relationship with the villagers, and something is going to have to happen where we see Jack do something gruesome. That he's kind of, you know, something that I don't know. That maybe he didn't want to, or maybe the child he's been taking care of or being nice to, he has to now.
Oh, that's a prediction.
That's a good prediction.
So when
we've even got the two guys making the reference of like
when they get
he's
older,
gonna grow up.
and then when his superior brought him there, he said to him, "It's comfy now, but it's going to get bad." He said, "You know, they're going to attack at some point. You know, so be ready for that." So that would be my prediction, because I feel like. Yeah, we see Jack here and there, but now I'm curious after seeing his father being driven to drink. Now I'm curious what, you know, I don't know, what happened to him over there. What will we find out? What will we find out in this last half?
Well, we also know that his brother dies. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
So that is a prediction.
Spoiler alert.
We've known that his whole life.
We've known the brother's been dead the entire three seasons.
I was a little late.
It's fine. Spoil it.
But I don't have a prediction for how he dies. It's going to be a dramatic death, because we did see a shot in previous, I don't know whether it's in previous episodes or previous previews that we've seen, but Jack is holding his brother when he dies.
Was Dawn, though. Is it? I thought it was Dawn that we were seeing. And
at the beginning, that was Dawn. Like,
are we sure?
Yeah, because they showed that.
We're not sure about anything. This is us.
That's true. I don't know. I hope it was Dawn, because if he's holding his brother when he dies, oh God, just take my heart out and put it on the table.
Yeah. And the reason that I say that also is because, you know, he did have to kind of trick his superior into allowing his men to take over, and they can't really be trusted. Who knows what's going to happen when he does come back, and they don't have the same level of empathy or responsibility that he has.
And also, his brother was in the picture of the group.
So he'll
look at here. Yes, that's true.
So somehow he ends up with his group.
Yeah.
Somehow. We don't know how. Maybe that's a prediction in and of itself.
Yeah.
If you all know how it ends up, let us know in the comments below. My other prediction, I should have been thinking about mine while you two were going, but I wasn't. I'm going to pull something out. Prediction is that Toby does not get back on his meds, because we saw previews last season where he's still in bed depressed. So I think that that's going to put a huge strain on Kate and Toby's marriage. And so they're going to stay together, but it's just going to be to a crazy extent, and they're going to go through a very wild ride.
I have a question for you about that.
Okay.
No, yeah, but so once Toby lets Kate know, if I take my meds again, it's at the cost of us possibly having a child.
Correct.
What do you think she's going to do? How do you think she's going to react to that?
I think what's going to happen is that she's going to say, no, go back on your meds. And then he's going to see that she's very distraught, and she's just doing it because she loves him, that she really doesn't want him to go back on his meds because she wants the baby so bad. So he's inevitably going to stay off of them just for her.
I'm with you, girl. I'm with you.
All right.
I'm with you.
These are predictions. I like it.
I like it.
I'm for it.
I am excited to see Kevin interact with Dawn, and I think that that's going to be a very pivotal point for us. And I think that Jack and Dawn had a relationship after the war, and that was probably something that the kids did not know about and didn't know anything about him clearly, because Kevin's just now finding out. I think that he played a large part in Jack staying sane and not drinking until later on. Because he was sober when he met Rebecca.
Yeah.
So we don't see him start drinking until later in life, which is probably the same time that his dad started drinking. And also Kevin started drinking around the same time
that's what I'm
that
saying.
Jack and his dad started. So there's some type of trend that's happening, but I think Dawn is going to be a very pivotal person for Jack. I don't think this is the last time that we see him. But with that being said, I could go on, but we have to end. And so I'm going to use my tissue. Y'all took all my tissues.
Oh, sorry. I put them in a nice square.
Oh, it's fine. I'm just kidding. Be sure to let us know in the comments below what your tissue moment was. Rank it from 1 to 5 so you can join in on us. And we'll definitely read one of them on air next week. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you guys same time, same place. Again, my name is Candice Cruz. You can find me on all my social media at Candice R. Cruz.
And you can find me everywhere at Thelma.
Oh, hey guys, I'm Parris Rose. You can find me everywhere at Parris Rose. Keep commenting. I love talking to you guys on our chat. So, yeah, we'll see you next week.
Wait, how do you spell Thelma?
Thelma with 3 Y's. And you can catch me there on Instagram. It's Thelma Mbaezue-Daniel. And I'll hopefully be here before the end of the season.
Yeah. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.